All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be covering that disappointing loss the Arizona Cardinals suffered to the Seattle Seahawks yesterday. So let's get into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get into it. I'm going to try to bring as much energy as I can for today's episode because that was just a very disappointing game to watch yesterday for the Arizona Cardinals. I feel like, and you might think I'm being biased on this, but I feel like the better team lost that game yesterday. That's not taking anything away from what Seattle did. You know, they won the game. They came out. They were better prepared. They played better. Their defense, stymied our offense. And that's the first subject we're going to get into today is the offense. And it was just an overall bad performance from the offense, especially the offensive line. That offensive line looked like it was still on the bye week. They looked like they just did not even come back from the bye week. They were not able to provide any running lanes for James Conner. They were not able to provide any protection for Kyler Murray. I believe he was sacked 5 times, and he was hit. Last I saw, I don't remember. I should have looked this up before we started, but he was hit, like last I saw, he was hit like 5 or 6 or 7 times. He was under duress all game, and it wasn't like it was just from the outside edge rushers, like the tackles were just getting beat every play. It was coming up the middle and forward. Quarterback, especially a 5'10" quarterback, that is the worst place to have pressure coming from, is from up the middle. He was getting that all day, and damn, Leonard Williams looked like Aaron Donald 2.0. He was living in the backfield. Doesn't matter who was blocking. He lined up everywhere across that line, and they had no answer for him. They could not stop him. They could not do anything to slow Leonard Williams down. I think he had finished the game with 2.5 sacks and like 4 or 5 tackles, and probably some of those for loss. I mean, he had a monster game yesterday. The Cardinals could not do anything to stop him. The run game was non-existent. The Kyler Murray just did not look like he was in rhythm at all throughout that game. The only thing I can kind of say is Trey McBride had a really good game, minus the 2 mental errors he had in that final drive, which really was a drive that probably wasn't going to matter much anyways because they were down 10 with less than 2 minutes to go. But he did have the point where he didn't go out of bounds. Instead, he tried to run through a guy and was tackled inbounds, which kept the clock running. And then he had the block in the back, which was obvious. I mean, you're taught at a young age, if you see the guy's numbers, don't block him. And the guy was right to him and he pushed him in the back. Is obvious. So 2 mental errors in that final drive. But overall, he had a monster game. He had a great game. He was the only person on offense that really, showed out yesterday and showed up. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr., he had an okay game. The targets he had, he did pretty well with it. Almost had a spectacular catch. I thought that was a catch at first. I thought 1 foot down, if you hit the pylon, you're in. I guess that's not a thing. A lot of people on X were saying the same thing. They thought that was a touchdown, but I guess not. So, yeah, that part kind of sucked. But otherwise, he did the most, I feel like, with the targets he had. So I feel like he had an okay game. Michael Wilson had that one spectacular catch and had a touchdown that was taken away due to another offensive line error, a holding, which was obvious again by Paris Johnson. It was an obvious hold, so that was taken off the board. But outside of those guys, like James Conner didn't have a great game. He had no running lanes. He was virtually non-existent that game, outside of a couple of passes out of the backfield. But overall, he just did not impact the game. And again, Murray just was, out of sorts, out of rhythm, under pressure all day. He had that one drastic, horrible decision that he made. It probably would have just been better at that point. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, but it would definitely be better for him just to throw that ball away versus, trying to fit it into a tight window. The guy had already cut him off. The guy that was guarding Wilson was directly in front of him, so it's going to be a very difficult pass to make. So, yeah, I mean, and then they couldn't get the guy on the ground after he intercepted, and it was just, and just just the error was compounded by, the interception and then him running it back for a touchdown, no one being able to get him on the ground. It was just a horrible sequence of events, and that was probably that was the difference in the game, because that was the only touchdown in the game. Or no, that was not the only touchdown in the game. But yeah, I mean, it was rough. It was rough. The whole team in general just did not look like they were ready coming out of the bye week. Especially the offense. It was just a rough day for the offense. So, I mean, what are they gonna do moving forward? They're essentially tied with the Seahawks. 6-5, top the NFC West. Seattle holds a tiebreaker, obviously, because they won the first game. They haven't in 2 weeks, so I hope they take this game. I hope they watch what they did, what Seattle was doing. I hope they make some adjustments here in 2 weeks when they see them here in Arizona. Or else it's going to look a lot the same. Again, I'm not taking anything away from what Seattle did. They came with a game plan. They executed their game plan a lot better than we did. And let's flip to the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to give the defense their flowers, because if it wasn't for the defense, we would have never been in this game. Seattle's offense was not good. Geno Smith was not good. There was nothing that Seattle did outside of a couple opportunities they had that they took advantage of. Was the Jackson Smith-Ajigba, I think his name is. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He took that one screen pass and basically almost took it all the way down for a touchdown. And then, that last drive, Seattle took over with about 7.5 minutes left, and the defense couldn't get off the field. And, they didn't get the ball back till under 2 minutes after, surrendering a field goal, which made it a 2-possessions game. So virtually at that point, the game was over. Especially with the way our offense had been playing the whole game, the game was over at that point in time. So, but again, like I said, I'm gonna give my flowers to the defense. The defense came to play. The defense played well. The defense is the reason we were in that game. If the defense didn't show out yesterday, it might have been another Green Bay game or Washington Commanders game. We would have just got run out the stadium, and that didn't happen yesterday. It was a game all the way through. The defense played well enough for us to win that game. They only surrendered 9 points to the Seahawks. 9 points. The touchdown was off of the offense because Murray threw that pick six. So the defense played well enough to win that game. If your defense only gives them 9 points and has a turnover, get you a turnover, and you can't, that's something that you can't even win a game over, that comes back to the offense. It's again, as you guys saw from the thumbnail, the offense struggled. They lost this game because the offense struggled. The offense did not come to play. More specifically, the offensive line did not come to play. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I don't know how else to break it down. I mean, there's so many opportunities in that game. The one time the offense had the opportunity, the one drive where they were dry, I was like, okay, they got the cobwebs out. They're starting to get this going. They're driving down the field. They're gonna get a score. They actually did get a score, but it was called back. They only got a field goal. And after that, it was just more of the same. They were just kind of couldn't get anything going. The offensive line couldn't keep Murray protected. Murray was out of rhythm again the whole game, because it sounds like I'm putting this game on the offensive line, but it is. If the offensive line protects a little bit better, if we can open up a few more running lanes, I think this is a closer game or a better game, and a game we might have come out on top of, because that was the difference in the game. The way our defense played good, but Seattle's defense played better, and they were able to cause more havoc, make more plays, and surrender less points than ours did. And they did their thing. They came in and they shut our offense down. Their offense has been looking really good for the past month, and now they just came out the bye. It looked like, I don't know, maybe they're feeling themselves a little bit too much. I hope not. I don't think so. It seems like Gannon's teams have been done pretty well of not doing that, but it's hard to, it kind of makes you wonder by seeing how they came out and played after the bye week. Because I was kind of dreading that the bye week was coming, because I was kind of like, oh, I feel like this was the worst time to have the bye week right now, because they were freaking rolling. And then I feel like, oh, the bye week's here, hopefully it doesn't stop their momentum. And it sure as hell looked like it did, because man, they just did not look like the same team. Again, defense played well enough to win. The offense, they got to regroup. They got to go back to the drawing board, got to go back and look at the film, see what they did and didn't do, see what Seattle was doing to them, and just come come ready to play next week against Minnesota, because they come out that way again, we're gonna have another loss. I'm not gonna sugarcoat. If they come out and play the way they did against Seattle, it's not gonna be a pretty game for them next Sunday. So I really don't know what to say on that. I think they will. I feel like they do pretty well at regrouping and watching the tape Monday morning and then dismissing it and going off to the next. So I got a feeling they're gonna come out better prepared. Not ready to make a prediction where they win or lose, because Minnesota is gonna be coming off a big win to Chicago. We're gonna be coming off a big loss to Seattle. That could have been a big win for us. We could have been in firm control of the NFC West if we win that game against Seattle. Now it's more of what it has been all season, a very tight race, and it's probably going to continue to be that throughout the rest of the season, because we have one more game against Seattle, we have one more game against the Rams, we have one more game against San Francisco, which San Francisco seems to be going the opposite direction. The Rams are it seems like 1 week they're good, 1 week they're bad, so we'll just have to wait and see what they do. But yeah, it was very disappointing. I'm a little down, not being able to bring as much energy to this as I wanted to. It was definitely a frustrating game to watch. But we'll see what happens this week. They definitely had a lot of things go wrong, a lot of things they got to work on. One positive, hopefully, we will see the 27th overall pick this coming week, Darius Robinson. He didn't play this week, but he did practice all last week. He was doing pregame warm-ups, so I'm thinking maybe they're wanting to give him one more week of practice time, and then they're going to get him out there in live action next week. Hopefully, I think he'll definitely be a boost. He's not going to be a savior or anything, but I definitely think he's going to add a little juice to that front seven that definitely needs it, albeit they did play very well against Seattle, and they have, for the most part, this past month, been playing very well. I definitely think adding him back into the mix will definitely help. I'm looking forward to this team, regrouping this week, flushing this loss, and moving on to Minnesota and bring on a better performance than they did this past week, because they definitely need it. You're in a prime position right now. You playoff hopes are still alive. The NFC West title is still in reach. Same record as Seattle. You just got to come out, take care of business, and come out and be prepared. You can't have many more of those games where you come out and just look like you're not prepared, like you're not ready to be out there, or else we will miss the playoffs again. And it's been a long while since we've had games in November, December that matter. So it's super exciting that we're in this position. Let's bring this thing home. Let's go out there, take care of business, play like we've been playing over the last month of this season. Over the last month, we were just, we look great, and now we kind of took a few steps back. So definitely looking forward to a rebound game this week. We'll talk about predictions later on this week. Tomorrow we're gonna take a deep dive into the schedule, the rest of the schedule we have along the way. Look at games that we think they should win. Look at games that might be some challenges that they might have some tough times against. But overall, I think the remaining schedule they have is still very favorable, as long as they come to play and get ready to play, and don't come out flat like they did yesterday, because you can't have many more of those games or else we're gonna miss the playoffs. But some things that came out of the game, Murray got injured a little bit, or hurt, dinged up. Looked like it was something that was bothering him throughout the game. He had to, apparently he was reported he went to the tent for possible, head injury, but I guess he was able to go back in. I guess he cleared any kind of checks as far as that. Gann said he just got the wind knocked out of him in his presser yesterday, so it doesn't sound like it's anything overly serious. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Hopefully, there's nothing lingering, because if Murray can't play next week for any reason, all due respect to Clayton Tune, but he's just not ready to, go out there and really compete and, give us an opportunity to win. If that's the case, it's going to be, a rough week, but it doesn't appear to be anything serious. So that is definitely good news. Again, just, I hate to keep harping on the offensive line, but man, they definitely got to go watch the tape and see what they were not doing during this game, because that's probably That's probably the worst game they played all season. To be honest with you, that was bad. It was bad. They just, I don't know. I feel like that was the worst game they played all season, and they couldn't. It didn't matter who it was on the Seattle front. They were just getting through. I mean, Leonard Williams is the one that popped, but it wasn't just Leonard Williams that was getting back there. They were getting 2 and 3 guys back there consistently, and it was rough. They had a rough day. Let's hope they can kind of rebound. Again, everyone, like, we know. I think James Conner is going to be all right. They're going to continue to feed him. He's shown that he's a very capable, big part of this offense, and when he gets going, he's one of the best in the league as far as running backs. So I think he's going to be fine. Trey McBride continues to show he's one of the best tight ends in the league, if not the best. There are people that argue that because he's not getting in the end zone. I mean, he can't throw himself the ball when he's in the end zone. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, I mean, overall, I think he's definitely in the conversation for one of, if not the best tight ends in the league. He's a monster. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think he's, could continue to get better. Again, the opportunities he was given yesterday, I feel like he made the most of them for the most part. He almost had that spectacular catch. They definitely think they got to get Michael Wilson more involved. Only 2 targets. They caught both of them. One didn't count. The other one was huge, a massive play. So, yeah, I definitely got to get him more involved. And, I think they'll be all right. But just, got to go back into the drawing board, see what they did and did not do. And, just kind of move forward and flush this loss, which they've been very good at doing. So anyways, that's kind of it for today. Again, very frustrating game to watch, but I'm looking forward to a rebound game. Again, tomorrow's episode, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the schedule, seeing what remaining games they got, which games they, you should pretty much not even pencil in, write them in, ink, marker, whatever you want to, that these are games that they should win. And then we'll talk about the ones that, could go either way. And this one in Minnesota, it's a big one. And this is one that if they don't show out to play, it's going to be a rough day again. So they're going to have their hands full this week. So they better, have their big boy pants on when they, lace them up on Sunday. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, we're going to be putting out consistent videos and, breaking down these, Cardinals news, games, highlights, whatever it is, Cardinals wise, we're going to be talking about. So, keep watching, keep checking in with these videos, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.